One of the big questions that we always get asked is, Katie, what happens if my back flares up again? I'm worried about it flaring up again. How can I stop it flaring up again? Okay, it's a really, really normal thing to be concerned about, because for many of you, traveling through the 90-day back pain program is because you have had regular flare-ups. You have been in positions where your back has gone at times when you really haven't got time for it to go, and it has set you back time and time again. So because of that history and that experience that your brain has had to deal with, that is kind of its go-to thought process at the moment. It is waiting for your next flare-up. It is waiting for when something happens again. Now, what I want you to be really, really sort of clear about, and give yourself some slack here, everybody, is that reoccurrence of back pain is completely normal. It does not mean that your treatment hasn't worked, or your back pain program hasn't worked, or what you're doing is not right. Okay? The reality of life is that we all sit too much, we don't move enough, we don't spend enough time stretching, and we have stressful events and periods in our life that we most of the time can't control. Things that happen to us that we have to deal with. Okay. Now, for a lot of people, they carry their stress and their tension in their back, and this is very, very common. When people's back pain starts to flare up, the first thing that I ask is, what's happening? What's going on in your life? Okay, and the kind of correlation between stress and back pain is exceedingly high, which is why we have the mindfulness in the back pain program. It's really, really important that we are able to switch on that relaxation system, that parasympathetic system, which allows our stress response to reduce, and therefore the effect on our muscles and various other things in our body is reduced. So, we can do loads of great things, but we are still going to sit too much, we are still not going to move enough, and we don't spend enough time stretching, because this is kind of the 21st century lifestyle that we are all in. And we also most of us have jobs and life and family and things that are keeping us busy. So we're not athletes who are dedicated all day to be doing the stuff that we need to be doing to look after our bodies, and they still get injuries. Okay, there is always a tolerance level. And when we reach that tolerance level, things start to go wrong. So the key is about being consistent. The key is about managing these scales. And I want you to think about one side of the scales being like all the good stuff that you do for your back, and the other side of the scales is where all the bad stuff that we do. Now, some days those scales are going to be way out of proportion. So the good stuff is going to be hardly anything because you've had a stressful day, you've had an argument with your children, somebody's cut you up in the car, you've had to sit in traffic for 2 hours because the M1 was closed, and you've had to sit in a meeting for 7 hours, etc., etc., etc. So the ingredients for good back care are zero. Okay, now in other days, that will be reversed. You will wake up, you will remember, yes, Casey says I've got to do these exercises every morning, and I'm going to do this, and your ingredients for back care will be much higher, and the scales will be in balance in the better way. Okay? The key over the weeks, the months, the year, is those scales need to be in your favour. It's like with dieting. If 80% of the time we are pretty good with our diet, and 20% of the time we just have what we want, you're generally going to maintain or lose weight or keep the weight that you wanna be at. Okay, same with your back pain management. 80% of the time, 75% of the time, if you're doing good stuff for your back, you're going to manage your back pain in a better way longer term. When people say, Katie, my back pain has increased, or it's happened again, or it's got worse, I say, okay, how much good stuff are we doing for the back? And the answer usually is, well, I stopped doing my exercises because I felt better, and I've put a bit of weight on, and actually I'm really stressed at the moment, etc., etc. Okay, so there's always reasons for it, and sometimes it's not always your fault. Okay, it is just life. So I want you to not worry about reoccurrences of back pain. I want you to just tell your brain it is completely normal. We all have tolerance levels, but now if it reoccurs, I know what I need to be doing to improve it very, very quickly. I like this saying, start where you are, use what you have, and do what you can. It doesn't mean you have failed. So start exactly where you are today. Don't let one day of being railroaded off your good habits mean that you just then don't ever get back onto that treadmill. Use what you have. You've got this back pain program. You can redo this program anytime now. You can repeat it. You've got all of the emails with all of the links on. It means you can go back and do that program time and time again. You can take snippets out of it. You can go, actually, I need to focus on the mindfulness, or I need to do some more stretching, or I need to do those 1 hour Pilates sessions a little bit more. But the key is to not do nothing. Okay, don't do nothing. If you do nothing, those scales will be completely out of balance, and yes, you will get reoccurrences of your back pain problem. But if you can be consistent in your approach, and you can think about 75 or 80% of the time you're doing good stuff for your back, you will find that your back just naturally has less reoccurrences, less flare-ups, you're more in control of it, and you will worry less about it happening.